You're about to find out exactly how cartels are using kids like currency, and some politicians are helping them make it happen. I'm going to walk you through it, plain and simple. If you're tired of being lied to, hit that subscribe button. Send this to someone who still thinks that this is about immigration and paperwork.
Well, first of all, the president has been clear and consistent in saying that he's going to fight labor trafficking and child trafficking. And this marijuana plantation is a clear-cut example of labor trafficking and child trafficking, which are heinous crimes. Additionally, I don't know of anybody except the governor of California who would argue that a marijuana plantation is an essential component of America's food supply chain. Everywhere you look in California, you see industrial child exploitation on a massive scale, an industrial scale. There are likely hundreds of thousands of children in California who are being exploited for their labor or sexually exploited as part of sex trafficking. This administration is liberating these children and helping reunify them with their parents back in their home country. What the Biden administration did with respect to child trafficking is one of the great crimes in human history. Over 500,000 children were illegally trafficked into the country under the previous administration. When we've gone and looked for these children, Martha, the addresses that the U.S. government provided, in other words, the records that the government kept under Joe Biden, are all fake. Nobody ever checked if the addresses were real. Nobody ever checked if the sponsors were real. Nobody ever checked if they were really even relatives or parents or relations or safe.
You're looking at what's being called California's largest marijuana grow, but underneath it, kids are being trafficked and abused for profit. Hundreds of thousands of children. This isn't news. This is war.
One of the great crimes in human history. Over 500,000 children were illegally trafficked into the country under the previous administration. When we've gone and looked for these children, Martha, the addresses that the U.S. government provided, in other words, the records that the government kept under Joe Biden, are all fake. Nobody ever checked if the addresses were real. Nobody ever checked if the sponsors were real. Nobody ever checked if they were really even relatives or parents or relations or safe. We recently recovered a young illegal alien by the adult male that the Biden administration handed to her. She was under constant video surveillance and was coached exactly what to say if an officer ever knocked on her door so that she would never be rescued.
Over 500,000 kids handed off to strangers. No background checks, no venting, just gone. Like that didn't have to happen. That girl did not have to go through that.
We have example after example. We go to homes, 13, 14, 15-year-old children on a daily basis because the Biden administration, because the Democrat Party chose to traffic them into this country. So we will be unrelenting in our effort to free these kids.
Yeah, this is a huge story, and the Biden administration tried to push them out of these holding facilities at the border and into the arms of people who were picking them up. There were some cases where one person picked up 150 children. So I doubt very much that was their uncle.
Not all their children.
Let me just bring this to your attention, Steve.
Stick with me, because what Miller says next, it ties this whole thing to the cartels and cold, hard cash.
This is Gavin Newsom's post from last night. I want to show you what Gavin Newsom said, and then we want to do the Karen Bass statement as well. So he posted this last night. Kids running from tear gas, crying on the phone because their mother was just taken from the fields. Trump calls me new scum, but he's the real scum. And then he goes on to say, of course, I condemn any assault on law enforcement. U.S. poster. Now do Jan 6. This is coming from Governor Newsom. And Jimmy Gomez, a Democrat in California, midnight last night, posted how many MS-13 gang members are waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to pick strawberries. Oh, yeah, 0. Your reaction to those?
Look, California and Los Angeles are waging insurrection against the federal government. They are protecting those who traffic in the suffering of children. And by the way, do you know why so many of these unaccompanied alien minors are being put to work in slave wages and slave conditions all across California? To pay off their cartel debts. The Democrat Party is funneling these profits from rape, profits from exploitation, and yes, profits from murder, into the hands of the cartels that control the north of Mexico, that assassinate politicians, that assassinate judges, that assassinate women and children, and that smuggle fentanyl into our country. Cartels are waging war against America, and their allies are the Democrat Party. And their allies are the Democrat politicians that are incentivizing these migrant mobs to try to murder our ICE officers in cold blood. I never thought we would ever see the day when Democrat politicians would use language and use rhetoric that would encourage illegal aliens and radical left nonprofits to try to murder ICE officers. But that's where we are right now.
You heard that right. Government failure isn't just negligence. It says it's collusion. Exhibitor, I'm telling you straight. If this was your kid, your niece, your goddaughter, you would burn out the system that allowed it. These aren't political debates. These are ruining lives. And the cartel, they're winning. Hey, just take 60 seconds tonight. Google your city, county, ICE, cooperation policy. Screenshot it, post it, and tag your representative. That's how we fight back. Ask someone tonight, seriously, what if this happened in your town? What would you do? Finish the sentence in the comments. If I were in charge, I would smash the like, subscribe. Don't miss the next drop. We go deep every week. Until next time, stay informed and engage. Have a good one.